19 states have seceded.
The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Greetings and salutations.
Oh, hi, Mark.
All right, I ran out of patience.
It's showtime.
Hello and welcome back to In Retrospect. My name is Matt, and as always, I'm joined by Brady. Brady, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. How about you?
I'm doing well, and tonight we are joined by our resident Alex Garland apologist, Zach. Zach, how are you?
I'm just wondering, what kind of American are you guys?
I don't know. Florida.
Okay, we'll find out.
Well, we're all from Florida.
You're
we're
in
in
the
trouble.
Florida Alliance.
I'm Central American, I guess.
Florida Alliance.
There's a lot of just political discourse right now, and so I just before all the everything gets heated, I just want you to know that I like both Drake and J. Cole.
Yeah. Buddy, you were talking to the wrong person because I don't like either.
Big
Kendrick
Kanye
Lamar.
guy?
Kendrick Lamar.
There you go. There you go, Zach.
W. If you have not caught the references yet, tonight, or read the title, we're talking about Alex Garland's Civil War. How'd you like it? Brady, I'll let you go first.
I really like this movie a lot.
I think we're all on the same
Like
page.
it's my favorite movie of the year so far.
Love that. What about you, Zach?
Same. I mean, that's a freaking movie right there. That is a freaking motion picture that Alex Garland just made.
Dude, I've seen it 3 times.
Done.
Yeah, I watched it. I watched it opening night, and then I went back on Saturday, and I went back once more since then. I love this thing. Like, the more you put it together, the more you start realizing how. Because I think you can watch it, and you're like, oh my gosh, this thing's like super well crafted. But the more you watch it, the more you realize how well crafted it is. You start picking up on small things, like super small things. And I think ultimately the thing that works the absolute most for me, this thing's a dang Rorschach test.
Yep.
Like, you can read into it however you want to read into it. It just tells you more about yourself. What would you say, Brady? What would you say that worked best for you in the movie?
I honestly, I thought it was really cool that the trailers were just kind of pitched a completely different movie than what I went in and watched. Like, it turned out to be like this big odyssey, kind of like a Apocalypse Now, Heart of Darkness type of thing. And I was not expecting that at all from what the trailers were giving me. And I really like that a lot. Like, all the characters are great. And they're all like very different and like distinct, and like they come together and they work so well together. And just like, it is intense. Like, you'll get to like a moment you're like, man, that was intense, and then a couple minutes later you're like, I can't take any more of this. It just keeps building and building, and it's an experience. Like, it's a crazy intense experience.
Zach, what's your first initial thoughts of this thing?
Yeah, it's it's not surprising that Garland is like known for dabbling in horror, because this is a horror movie. The way he uses sound, like the sound will be gone, or all you'll hear is just like crickets or like bees buzzing around, just the sound of nature. But really what you're hearing is the freaking your heart beating out of your chest. And you're like screaming at the screen, like, don't, get out. No, this is right up there as far as, because like Brady said, it's not the movie that the trailers made you think, because the trailers almost were like, I don't want to say full Hunger Games, but it was like, it kind of sold something where like the war was the important part of it, is the feeling I got from it.
Brady and I joked off pod months ago. I had saw a tweet basically saying that this movie looked like God's Not Dead for liberals, like the trailer. 100% did.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But instead, it's a video game story where, but this is every movie he makes essentially it's not, it's just like set piece to set piece to set piece. The movie it reminded me the most of probably was Sicario as far as stuff that's come out recently.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I was really shocked.
Although that one definitely had like this one. It's funny you said the Rorschach test because that's pretty apt because like Sicario definitely has a clear message that it's trying to say, and if you didn't get it, Benicio del Toro tells it to you at the very end of the movie again. Whereas this one, there's people that are angry that they think Alex Garland said too much, or there's some people who are angry that he didn't say anything. And, there's people who are very mad at this movie because it's not the movie that they thought it was going to be.
Well, it's like the meme. It's like the person holding the paper, like the thing holding the paper. And it's like, I'm mad at it because I see myself in it. Like that's 100% the reason. Like if you watch this movie and you feel, in my opinion, if you feel like any way about any potential character in this movie, it's because you see yourself in it. You identify with it. And if you identify with it, that could be a problem. I think he does that with everyone. Even like, I'm a journalist. I went to school. I have a journalism degree somewhere over there. He doesn't hold punches. Like a lot of people say like, this movie is a love letter to journalists. And in some ways it is, but also at the same time, it's very critical of them. It's highly critical of them. Like, the last moment of the movie proves that. Like, I really liked how he both held punches but didn't hold punches at all. Like, he gave this movie, he put this movie out in a way that you could see yourself in it and interact with it. And some people just don't like the way they're interacting with it. And I think some of
that's
that
funny because he's.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, as far as the journalism, it's funny because he definitely thinks that it's an important job, but he also thinks you have to be a huge, pretty much you have to be a nihilist to be good at the job.
100%.
Like, which is, again, this is Alex Garland. I mean, this is a pretty much a theme for him. These jobs are important. Like, it's important that we touch the limits of technology and AI and stuff. But also, you have to be a humongous narcissist to even attempt to do that. Like, this is every story that he tells.
I think the thing I like the most about the idea of using a journalist through this is because, like, the very obvious issue with using it now, I think a lot of people assume, and rightfully so, that the people like you see on like CNN or Fox are what you personify onto the journalists in the movie, and they just like project things that you expect them to project. And then, like, I think the root of what journalism is supposed to be highly objective. And so like using that through line through this movie, I think was such a cool instrument to like allow this to be that Rorschach test, allow people to identify with the things in the movie. Did you get that, Brady?
Yeah, I did. I definitely think you kind of it's very interesting because I can't think of any other examples of a movie where it's just really he just leaves it open for you to bring your own point of view and perspective into it. Like, it's not so like I think that's a problem that people are having with it too. It's just like it's not really hand holding you. It's not really like telling you how to feel and think. But like, I mean, it's like if I'm trying to think of how to say it, but it's really just you're going to bring to it whatever your perspective is. And I mean, it's basically just a sequence of horrific events and you have to. I can't think of like how exactly to say it without like dipping my toe in the fire or anything like that. You know,
No, I totally get that. I think the thing that is really interesting is that there's so many different arguments why this movie might be bad and so many different opinions. And I think there's as many different arguments, if not more, as why this movie's really great. And if there's anything a movie should do, it's to make you feel something and feel some type of way. And this movie certainly does that. And I think it really succeeds in that way. Another thing that I really like that Alex Garland does is the use of this name of Civil War. Because like one, like you mentioned the idea that Zach, you mentioned the idea that like this trailer is not at all really what the movie is. And I think the title itself, obviously not at face value, not at all that, but at when you like boil it down, it absolutely is that. It's like people are upset about X and Y, and people just need to have conversation. And if people aren't allowed to have conversation, Civil War is inevitable, like 100%. And I think when you look at Alex Garland's other piece of work, like Ex Machina, obviously Machine, and he expected machines to save people. It did not. Annihilation, self-destruction. Men, that one's fairly obvious. So I really like it, the use of his titles.
Yeah. Him using the title Civil War, it's definitely provocative, because obviously you go into it thinking there's a good side and a bad side. Like there's a right and there's a wrong. What is interesting that he did, now there will be people who don't like this, or actually there will be people who watch this movie and this is just not their cup of tea. Like
100%.
I don't know that my parents would probably just be like, what? Like, what was that? Where's the story? You know? So if you watch it and you don't like it because of that, but if you watch this and it made you mad, then I think you're not thinking deeply enough. But there is no protagonist in this, and there's no antagonist. We don't know why the war even began.
We do. Mm-hmm. I think we do.
Do we?
Yeah. So I mean, it's very.
I know that he is in for a third term, right? I know they mentioned that, but is that why they fight the war?
Well, the
president. Sorry.
Yeah. It's super subtle, and you only hear it of like the radio waves, but it's one like he took a third term, he bombed U.S. states before that, and then also he disbanded the FBI, and so that's the reason, supposedly, that we have the greatest alliance of all time between Texas and California, because they finally, after all of those things, got upset enough.
Love it.
Yeah, I really like that we don't get like this big lead into it. Like we don't really know how it led to this. Like I think it's perfectly encapsulated in that scene where they pull up on like all the Christmas decorations, and then there's that fight, and they're like, I don't know who's in there, like, but he's shooting at us, so he's the enemy. Like,
who's in there? I don't know.
It's such a good scene. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is, I did think, like, we were talking about how kind of ambiguous he is as far as painting this picture. Like, think of the Newsroom, the Aaron Sorkin show, and then think of the exact opposite of that. That's what this is.
Yeah.
This is the polar opposite, but a great companion piece to me. Like you could take the Jeff Daniels speech and lay it over the trailer from Newsroom and it'd be great. Somebody needs to do that.
That's actually incredible. Instead of doing like what's the Linkin Park song In the End? Is that what it is?
What I've done.
Yeah.
Just I'm blanking on the guy's name now, but no, that's incredibly accurate. I was gonna say something. I guess it wasn't that thought-provoking anyway. Dude, can we talk about Kirsten Dunst in this movie? Holy crap. Mm-hmm. Like I haven't watched much Kirsten Dunst, admittedly, since like Mary Jane. I'll be very forward with you guys. What movies do I need to watch with Kirsten Dunst? Because she was incredible in this.
Melancholia. I don't know if either of you have seen that movie.
Okay.
I have not. No.
Came out in 2011. It's a Lars von Trier movie, and it's she plays a similar-ish character. It's a woman on her wedding day. She suffers from extreme depression, and then you find out that there's a planet that is going to crash into the Earth, and it's a top 10 movie of the 2010s for me.
Okay.
It's one of the best things I've ever seen in my entire life. So watch that one. She's also really good in The Power of the Dog. I don't know if you saw that.
Never got around to it.
Oh, yeah. She was good in that.
Yeah.
But no, she's so good in this.
Yeah. Fargo season 2. That's another one. But other than that, I don't really know what she's been in.
I loved how, because I don't think the script is certainly good in this, but she just does so much just straight up acting in this movie. It's just insane. Like, so much with just her eyes alone. I feel like the third act of this movie, like the last part of the second act and the third act of this movie, she is just carrying the movie on her shoulders, just acting with not much dialogue at all. Like, she's so good. Like that, juxtaposition against what her character was at the beginning of the movie was just so good. Like, I loved how she was so incredibly brave, but also so incredibly vulnerable at the very end. Like, it just really, really, really worked.
Yeah, I really like that at the end, where she's having her breakdown and stuff, and kind of showing that the younger characters come to the complete other side of that spectrum now. And yeah, but Kristen Dunst, I'll be honest, I'd never really liked her in the past, in stuff. Not entirely sure why. I don't really know, but this, I was it definitely did make me want to go and look for other things. And I had a feeling Zach was going to recommend Melancholia because I thought that seemed like a him kind of movie.
Dude, I'm telling you, and it may not be for y'all. I don't know. I don't know if either of you've seen anything by Lars, but it's one of the best movies I've ever seen in my entire life. Not to set the bar too high, but yeah.
Ain't no way it's a Beau is Afraid, so I'll watch it.
No.
Another person in this movie that I thought maybe is kind of flying under the radar here. I think Kaylee Spaney's really good in this movie. When Nick Offerman's in this movie, he's really good. Stephen McKinley Henderson's really good. But dude, Wagner Moura, I wish more people were talking about him specifically. He is excellent in this. I really loved how you can't tell if he is borderline Nightcrawler or just really loves his job. He walks that line so incredibly well. The only other thing I've seen him in was the most recent Mr. and Mrs. Smith reboot thing. He's really good in that.
Yeah. I kept trying to remember what I'd seen him in, and that was it. Yeah.
I heard he was in Narcos too.
Yeah, he plays Pablo Escobar in Narcos.
I didn't know that.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if you've ever seen the sad Pablo Escobar memes where he's sitting on the swing set or whatever, just staring down.
Oh, yeah. That's him?
I believe so. Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure that's him. But no, you said I don't know if he's Nightcrawler or if he just really loves his job. I think Alex Garland is saying you have to be Nightcrawler to love this job.
That's fair.
That's what I got.
Because the famous saying, if it bleeds, it leads.
Sure,
it takes a certain kind of person to go into this specific type of journalism,
right?
Wartime journalism. The images. One of the things I loved about this movie is the still photos.
Yeah.
The way he would flash them on screen after they snapped them. And golly, there's some fantastic ones that they did for this. Just to think of these. But also, this is stuff that people actually do. They follow soldiers around in time of war and take pictures. And no shade, nothing like that. That's not what I'm saying. But the ethical dilemma that you would have to find yourself in, the moral quandary to be like, I should be helping here because a person's bleeding out, but my job is to document that it's happening.
Yeah, 100%. Like, same thing with documentarians. Like, the whole thing with, like, the movie, the documentary that won an Oscar this year. 20 Days in Mariupol, is that what it is? Like,
yes.
Like, at what point, I mean, I guess just at the exact point, it's very finite. Like, the idea of, like, a documentarian is literally there just to put a camera there. A photographer is there literally just to put a camera there. And dude, that is so, so a pretty massive theme in this movie is I cannot talk.
Desensitization? Is that a word?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like,
being desensitized?
Yes, that specifically. And I think it's really interesting because, like, again, he uses journalism in that as a vehicle to show you that, because they're obviously desensitized. But what I don't think people are processing is we're already desensitized to it. Like, it happened, like Monkey Man, right? Like, there's scenes in Monkey Man that we're like, oh yeah, this is just a movie. Then there's stuff that happens in real life. There's a pretty infamous photo that is pretty on the nose replicated at the end of this movie. That I think that if it were, since it's in the USA, it's taken a little bit differently, or it's looked at a little bit differently. But if you go back and look at that photo that was taken years ago back, maybe you might have different thoughts, possibly. Hopefully you do. Like, I really like how they use the journalism to show you all the people being desensitized to these items, and then makes you think, what else am I desensitized? Am I actually desensitized to this? And I think him doing that was really clever. Like, I'll say it, like, the Bin Laden photo is just, it's insane. Like, the ending is one of my favorite things about this movie. Like, I've heard so many people talk about they hate the ending, and I can understand it because it does just abruptly end. I don't know how you end this movie, though, outside of what they did. I think it's probably my favorite ending of the year, to be honest. I have not got it out of my head.
He's like, I need a quote, and then he's like, don't let him kill me. He's like, all right, that's good enough.
That'll do. Jeez.
And then the credits is the photo developing. Like, come on. Like, that's just,
it's really cool. It's like, yeah. And then just, well, whenever the whole movie, he's just wanting to get this like long form interview with him. And then, like, after he sees more and more terrible things happen, the closer he gets, like, by the end, he's just like, I'll just get something real quick, and that's good enough. Like, we got to get rid of this guy. Like, it's pretty wild.
Right. But here's the thing about him being the journalist is, like, the things were caving in. That's the reason he stopped trying to get his interview or whatever. But, like, he had the chance. He still would have 100% did it. In fact, they're trying to kill the guy. And he's like, hold on. He didn't say, don't do this. He said, I need a quote.
Yeah.
He gets the quote. And then he's kind of like, okay, I've done my job. And they shoot the guy.
Yeah. I mean, also the don't let them shoot me or don't let them kill me or whatever the line is.
Yeah.
In this world, like the world we live in, if we're supposed to believe that this is a parallel to that, that's a clickbaity title right there. He knew he had it. That's all he needed. And, like, if we're supposed to also believe that these types of journalists, hypothetically, lean into their own narratives, which some of them do, a lot of them do, easy. Like, that article writes itself. And I really love, because again, it's both pro-journalism, but also highly critical of it. I really liked how they shined a light on that specifically. And then also, like, the whole Kaylee Spaney character. Like, I think there's an argument to be made that she's reckless, which caused, obviously, Kirsten Dunst's character of Lee to die. I think there's also an argument to be made that maybe, possibly, could have been set up. Potentially. Like, I am speculating. There's nothing hard evidence there, but if you really want to be successful at something and you see an opportunity And I think in the moment, you probably know, if you're Kaylee Spaney's character, that she's not just going to let you die. If she can set up a shot to make her career, why wouldn't you do it? She's already, like, the movie's already telling us she's reckless, that she's desensitized at this point. Like, I'm just thinking out loud here, but that thought definitely crossed my mind.
Well, I don't, maybe, I don't know. You may be on something there, but I do love, so I love the place that the character gets. And I love the callback, like Kirsten Dunst dies.
Mhm.
She takes the picture. And it's a callback to the beginning whenever we first meet that character. And she's like, if I die, would you take a picture of it? And she goes, what do you think?
100%.
Yeah, no, it's even like because they even kind of subvert that a bit with her taking the picture of I can't remember the guy's name.
Sammy.
Yeah, who dies in the car, and she takes a picture of him, and then she deletes it, and I'm like, oh wow, like she's come that far. And then the end is just like, nope, it still happens, but it's just not how you expected.
Yeah, the flip-flop of that character dynamic just really works. Because as Kaylee Spaney's Jesse gets more desensitized and starts getting way more confident and reckless, I think you see the complete opposite of Kirsten Dunst. Like, she's starting to realize how, like, through watching Jesse become desensitized, crap, what have I done? Like, I thought this whole entire time that I'm taking these pictures to convince people what's going on, and I've completely, like, lost all complete reality taking these images, and I just don't feel anything from it at this point. I've become completely numb to it. I've seen it so many times. And then she's seeing Jesse do it. And by the end of the movie, you see that flip of, like, now Lee is, like, struggling just getting into the White House, not interested in taking any photos, completely panicking. And then Jesse's just locked in, maybe too locked in. And so when that moment happens, it's incredibly telegraphed. Don't get me wrong, but dude, it works. Speaking of the McKinley character, though, I loved how they showed camaraderie between all of the journalists, and how it wasn't just complete rivalry. That was really cool. And he's just really good at playing himself. He's so I just wanted to give that man a hug so bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's great. I wish he was in. I mean, I know he's in a lot, but I wish he would get more roles like this and stuff.
No, 100%. Like, the moment he dies, I think that death might hit harder than Lee's, I think, in my opinion. And Kirsten Dunst is fantastic, but I think his death might hit a little bit harder. But the other thing cool about that character is, like, when they're at that hotel bar, right, at the beginning of the movie, and they're talking about, you know, where they're going, the movie tells you he's going to die in Charlottesville. Like, pretty directly. He's like, yeah, I'm getting off in Charlottesville. And then same thing with Kirsten Dunst's character. I forget the exact verbiage, but pretty much communicate she's going to die in DC. So like the script in this movie is, like, really insane. Like, it knows itself inside and out, and I really appreciated that aspect of it. I was going to say something. Jesse Plemons now. Holy crap. This man is quietly one of the best actors in Hollywood. Like, quietly.
He's a little too good at these roles. A little too good.
Yeah.
Some of us have been here since Friday Night Lights. Actually,
Hey,
take that
pause.
back. Some of us have been here since Like Mike, my guy.
Hey, I own Like Mike on VHS.
He played Murph.
I didn't
the
know that.
Bully of oh yeah. He's the one who threw threw Lil Bow Wow's shoes up on the power line to begin with. Yeah,
So my man's has been locked in since, like, age 12.
absolutely. He's great. He's great at these. He's great. Just period. He's like the best supporting performer we have working right now.
He's so good.
Do y'all know the story behind this, by the way? Like, how he got this role?
Yeah. Whoever did they ever say who was supposed to play the role?
No.
I'm very interested to know who that was.
Yeah.
I'm happy whoever it was did not get that job though. I kept watching Kirsten Dunst. I'm like, is she going to break at any point? Like, I was just waiting.
So I also read or heard, I can't remember, that the part about where he's talking about Missouri being the show me state.
Mhm.
Like, why is it the show me state? That was all improv.
I saw that too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dude is just in his
That's
bag.
good. He's fantastic. He's a great actor.
Also,
He
like,
should have played the lead role in freaking Killers of the Flower Moon.
let Marty know.
I'm
Get him
saying
on
it.
speed dial.
Just saying.
Dude, even the rose-colored glasses or the blood-covered glasses, what do you want to call them? Such an excellent choice. Oh my gosh. Like, I love the idea of that's all he sees. Like, he's either, again, like us, completely desensitized to it at this point, or literally that's all he sees. Like, just perfect. But no, dude.
Did y'all
Go ahead.
like think that whenever, they come and hit them with a truck and like she falls into the pit, like I thought like more things were about to happen. Like I thought that he was still because like right whenever that happened, like my hands like went like that and then stayed basically that way through the rest of the scene because I thought that it was about to pop back up in there with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
I do like that.
In a different movie, that would have been the rest of the movie. Like him chasing after them as they flee.
Yeah.
But
that's what I was going to say. I kind of like the aspect of this movie where it's a lot of like different dang, I'm blanking on the name of it. Just different moments in the movie leading up to it. It's like it's the worst like drive across the United States movie I've ever seen. But like I really love like the different like the video game levels of it all. Like I really love that aspect of it where you don't get all of the context of those moments, but you get just enough to understand what Alex is trying to communicate. And I really liked that you don't spend too much more in those moments because I think it would have been really easy and a lesser movie would have went too far in those moments. I really like that he just made you live in those for like 5 to 10 minutes each. It really worked for me. Mm-hmm. Again, especially with just Jesse Plemons just absolutely in his bag. Like, dude was legitimately terrifying.
It's so scary. Like, there's so many moments where it's not like, due to him not really getting into the politics of it all, you see just like people just taking advantage of the situation to like act out on their like inner evil pretty much. Like even the first scene when they go to the gas station and he's got the guy hung up and he's like, yeah, he was in high school with me. Like the way he says it, you're like, oh yeah, he had problems with this dude from way back then even. And he's using this to kind of act out on that.
Yeah, another one of my favorite moments in the movie, really similar to what you're talking about, is the moment where they go into this like Twilight Zone. They go to this city that's completely like to the eye, completely untouched, just as if life were just happening today. And they walk into the store, and it could have been literally anything. I don't know why they chose it to be a designer store. It should have been like a deli or something. But they go into the store, right? And everything just seems normal. And then they walk outside to the reveal that the people on top of the roofs. Like the idea that one, there are people out there who just would rather not have a voice and just allow things to happen and don't realize that's a problem. And then two, the idea that when you go outside and you realize that they decided that if you don't agree with us, then we have other means of taking care of that problem. Both of those reveals really, really, really worked.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a...
that was a scene that... Well, that was a scene that, like, when I saw it in the trailer, I was like, yeah, this seems kind of cheesy. Like, I don't know, like, the him walking up to the counter like, do you know there's like a war going? Like, I was like, really? We're going to like do this stuff. But then in the movie, it works incredibly well.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because like we'd had multiple characters reference like how their parents are living on a farm, pretending none of this is happening. We see a town that's the entire thing they're doing. And then let's be honest, if something like this were to happen, there definitely would be little towns that are like, not our problem.
Yeah. Not our problem because we have people with guns standing on a roof. Basically, like I really like that reveal a lot.
Yeah.
Zach, did you have like a favorite moment in the movie? Is it the Jesse thing, or is there another thing that you really liked?
Let's see. Jesse scene definitely steals the movie. The most intense scene was probably the Winter Wonderland scene. Because it was so, and the way he did that was so freaking visceral. Like, you know, in that moment, you're thinking any one of these characters could die right now, and you would not be surprised. But the last like 10 minutes, Alex Garland showed to be one of the best action filmmakers freaking alive right now. That was amazing. So as far as just scenes go, just once they get to DC and it is all out Call of Duty, just, you know, excellent war filmmaking. It took my breath away at that point. Like the other stuff was like tense. That right there, I couldn't breathe.
Yeah, it was like Saving Private Ryan meets Zero Dark 30. Like it was just, man, it was intense.
Yes, it was. Golly.
Dude, this is so interesting to me because I agree with you. First of all, let me be very clear. I had someone comment on my YouTube video and ask, but where did the $50 million go? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, huh? Like, I guess we didn't watch the same movie. Like,
yeah, because I'm watching it going, how did he make this for only $50 million?
Yeah.
That part. Can we talk about the sound design?
So good.
Dude, I nearly ran out of my theater the first time a gun went off.
Yeah.
Top tier, man. It was excellent.
Like, I couldn't imagine watching that in Dolby. I would have. Sometimes you're holding your urine when you're watching a movie. I don't know if I could have held it. Like that was legitimately terrifying the first time you hear a gunshot go off. I told Brianna in our second view, and it's like, I want to watch people when they hear the first gunshot. Because like it's legitimately scary.
I could hear people like at multiple points, like because there'd be like some sort of quiet spells, and then there'd be a gunshot go off. Like there were like multiple times where I heard people in the theater like, "Oh."
Yeah.
What did y'all think of the needle drops in this movie? Either one of y'all can go first.
Yeah, I didn't love them. That was like the one thing I didn't really love in the movie.
I kind of
like
obsessed.
I like the Sturgill Simpson needle drop. I like that one. The De La Soul needle drop did not exactly work for me. Dude,
like I'm not gonna lie, that one specifically felt very like Martin Scorsese to me. Like it worked. I was really shocked when people were saying it did not work for them.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was just that was the one that was just like super abrupt, right? It was just like, oh, like there was like no like ease you into it. It was just like all of a sudden felt very out of place.
Well, I think that's part of the point. Like that's the reason I think it works for me specifically is because like it just comes out of nowhere, one, and then two, it's like such a drastic juxtaposition as to what's actually going on. And to hear that music go over that particular scene, it really, really worked, in my opinion. I was a pretty big fan of the needle drops, honestly. It felt very like, I say Martin Scorsese, maybe that's not the correct example. Maybe something close to like Adam McVeigh.
Yeah, you see that.
Suicide Squad.
They weren't bad. It just, it's Suicide Squad. There were a lot.
You're
Lot
the
of
first
them.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Now that's a music video. That's messed up.
There were a lot of them. A lot.
I was gonna say something else. Dang it, I lost it. Any takes y'all need to get off while I'm thinking about this movie?
Well, I don't know about a take, but like, what did y'all think of Kaylee Spaney? Is this the first thing y'all have seen her in?
I guess. I can't.
So I didn't know it, but apparently she was in Devs.
Okay. Then I've definitely seen her.
And that she played the one like kid character that was part of like the company. And then she was in something else I've seen her in, but I didn't realize it in the moment. Like I thought that kid in that movie in Devs was pretty fantastic. But she was in something else and I'm blanking on. But no, I thought she was fantastic. I really did. I will say, as a person who does not like the Alien franchise outside of Prometheus, listen, we can talk about it at a later date.
What?
Okay. You're just gonna drop that and move on.
Absolutely. Because my point is about to be really emphasized. I'm really excited to see her in Alien Romulus after seeing this movie.
Oh yeah, that looks pretty sick.
Okay, now that I'm actually looking up her page, I've seen pretty much everything she's been in. I just guess I didn't know that it was her. Like she's in Pacific Rim Uprising, Bad Times at the El Royale, Vice.
Oh yeah,
Dev, Mayor of Easttown. Like I've seen a lot of stuff she's in.
I didn't know she was in Vice.
She was. Yeah, she was. She gave my favorite actress performance last year in Priscilla.
I gotta watch that.
I almost watched it.
She's very good in that movie.
Yeah, I almost watched it like 2 nights ago. I ended up watching gosh, I can't remember. Never mind.
Green Scenario?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what I did, dude.
How did I know?
Holy crap. Shout out Letterboxd. Dream Scenario's a ride. I don't know if y'all seen that thing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Speaking of which, my roast recently watched Rami Youssef. I think it's More Feelings. I think it's the name of the special. It's on HBO. Oh my gosh. It's incredible. Really, really, really liked it. Something like 54 minutes, dude.
I don't know who that is.
Poor Things. He's in Poor Things. Plays opposite of Emma Stone.
What is that?
Yeah, he had a show called Raimi that was like a Louis type of show.
Oh, okay.
That's how I got to know him. But he is good in Poor Things. Hey, I don't have another take to get off.
Okay.
Just another observation.
Sure.
Or a half-baked observation, because like journalism movies are like maybe my favorite movies.
Really?
Anytime there's like All the President's Men, that movie is probably top 5 all time to me.
So good.
Spotlight. I could watch Spotlight every month. It's so good. The Newsroom. Again, I know that's something a little bit different, but like these are my favorite things. Just like it's like comfort food to me, because it's like a group of people get together and they bring down an entire system. So it makes me feel like I have the power to right wrongs if I just wrote for a newspaper. Right. I've never, and I know there probably has been, but like I've never seen a journalism movie like this where they're not working to bring down something, or like, we're going to document these atrocities so that the people know how bad these people are. That's not what they're doing in this. They are truly objective. And it is so hard for me to wrap my head around. Like, it's the thing I've thought about most coming out of this movie. Not Texas and California aligning, not the Florida Alliance just basically being the map of the SEC. Like, This is what I think about. Like, not even like what set this all off or why this guy decided he wanted to be in a third term. Like, I, it, it, man, yeah, I don't even know what to say.
Now, that's so refreshing to hear because the amount of times that I've tried to answer the question of, but why is California and Texas on the same side? I'm like, dude, it's not the point of the movie. Like, just if you will go in and just turn your brain off on that one aspect and quit asking that question, I promise you're going to have about 10 other questions. Like, the point of the movie is more about like the anti-war side of it and to start conversations, not to ask.
Is this an anti?
I think it is
an anti-war movie.
I think it is.
Is it successfully an anti-war movie?
That's a good question.
Because like a lot of the movie is kind of like, look how cool war is, or maybe it's not trying to say that, but it's showing this montage and playing De La Soul.
Activision is going to hire them for the next trailer. They're going to hit Alex Garland and be like, "Yo, I need you to cut a trailer for me, please." But no, I get what you're saying. But the reason I think it's an anti-war film is the whole like shouting at you. If there's one thing this movie does, is shout out to you is like, quit being desensitized to this. This stuff sucks. Like, why are we shooting each other? Like, we don't have to do that. Like, we can have conversations, at least start them. Start somewhere. And I think for me, that's what I was getting from it.
Yeah. I'm torn because I think it is a warning, and that's definitely how he intended it. He's so good as a filmmaker. And he moves the camera so well, and the drones are flying, and we're sitting back in the back of the excursion, smoking a joint, and we're watching people shoot at each other in the night sky, and it looks like shooting stars, and you're like, dang.
I'm gonna have to
awesome is this?
I'm gonna have to send you a video after this. Remember how I said it was a Rorschach test? I watched a video earlier trying to directly parallel my thoughts on this movie just to see what people would say. And let's just say that person did not think this movie had a ton of action in it. This particular person's very pro other items in this movie, and he was very particular how those items were utilized. And let's just say they didn't find much enjoyment in the action per se, and thought it was pretty boring. But
okay, well, if they went in trying to see like
sure,
Olympus has fallen, then definitely, But I don't know. How do you watch the last 20 minutes of this movie and not be like, dang, there's some action?
I would say I watched the first hour and 30 minutes first. I get what you're saying though. Like, I think the ending is shot really well. Like, I'm on the same page with you.
Yeah.
Like it honestly looks really good. Like, it's very, I don't know that I would go Saving Private Ryan, but like it does feel, it does feel like it's a Mel Gibson movie in some ways. Like, you know how Mel Gibson has like this ultra realistic like feel? Like, I'm thinking like Hacksaw Ridge, like that ridge that they have to climb up just feels, it doesn't feel like a set. It just feels epic. Like I see that through the same lens. I see this through that same lens. And so I totally get that point. I just think the remaining hour and 30 minutes is so adverse to that, which makes that last, 30 minutes really, really, really impactful. But I don't know. I just think the other hour or so is so not slow, but in conjunction to that, I do think that, especially the conversation you brought up about like the two snipers, right? They're laying there and they're like, and Wagner Moore asked them, or Joel asked them, why are you shooting at them? Well, they're shooting at me. Like, that whole aspect of it, I definitely think it's trying to be anti-war. But I totally hear you. Like, they made the sexiest ending to this movie possible for it to be that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brady, what's your thoughts? Be the mediator.
Man, like, I don't know. Like, I felt like, I've seen all these war movies and I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty terrible that, like, all these things happened in the past. But this is like the first time I've watched one of these and like got genuinely afraid of like the possibility of this happening, because it just felt so modern and so here, and just like, for example, the first like part where they're following, like, and the guy dies, like you mentioned it earlier, where the guy's dying and she's just taking the picture while he's bleeding out and stuff, and just like them storming that building, then just like taking people out, and then bringing all the people out into the yard and just like mowing them down with the gun. It was just like, I don't know, like, to me, like, he was shooting it to make it look really cool, but my reaction to it was like head in hands, like, oh my gosh, like, this is, like, I could see this, like, it's so real, like
Oh,
this
yeah.
could happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't argue that. Like,
I had a negative reaction for sure. Like, but like I said, though, he shot it in like a way to make it look cool, but like I was feeling the complete opposite way.
yeah, I cannot argue that. Like, you're 100% correct. I just like to think he shot it that way to invoke that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Like, I think he shot it that way so when you see those images, you're like, what can I do to prevent this from happening? That's what I get from it. But no, you totally, like, you don't want to, when you see those images, you don't want them to happen. You don't want to be a part of them. Especially, again, like, we go back to the Jesse Plemons of it all. Like, dude, I don't want to be around that guy. I do not want to be alone in the room with that guy. I don't want to be in the room with that guy with 100 other people.
But you probably have been.
Yeah.
Is the thing that I think he's saying.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Because who was Jesse? I mean, I know this is part of the point. Like, we don't know who Jesse Plemons was fighting for, other than himself. Like, he was a bad faith actor for whatever side he was on, who saw this chaos as an opportunity to do disgusting, terrible things that he's always wanted to do.
Yeah, like, I really like the idea of having everyone wear this pretty similar clothing, if not the exact same clothing, just so you could not get an inkling outside of really trying to read the tea leaves and telling on yourself. Like, I really loved that aspect of the movie.
No,
I love the guys who wore the Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah.
Really livened up the party.
I mean, what I liked was, like, there were certain moments where I was like, I can't tell, like, what group of people is this supposed to be and stuff. And then I was like, I think that's just the point. Like, that's exactly what he's going for.
Yeah, I think, though, that's where I find the Rorschach test really interesting. Because when you start, like, again, I said this at the very beginning, but start identifying with those things, like, one, you're missing the point of the movie. And then two, he's trying to evoke you in a way that makes you think, am I the bad person? And sometimes, like, obviously, people are not going to accept that very well, but maybe, hopefully, sometimes people might, like, have an inkling of a thought that maybe might change them. But I did love the aspect of where he allowed for the interpretation of it all.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I didn't read into it as him being specific as far as, I want to say it was more like a scatter shot, but I don't think he set out to make this movie to anger anybody.
No.
I think he set out to make it everybody think, but he didn't want to piss anybody off, because there's definitely a way to tell the story too.
That's fair.
Get a rise out of everyone.
Sure, that's 100% fair. That's probably more eloquent than what I said, actually. But that's what I meant. Like, the idea that, like, you could see things and identify with them, and you'll be like, but why did he say that? Because yeah. So you get what I'm saying. And I really love that. I love that people haven't caught on to that too, which is shocking to me. Like, well, I think I'm probably talking about a minority of people, but I love that people haven't caught on to that aspect of the movie yet. And I think you could like read it from people's reactions to it.
It's funny, because, like, the last time there was this, obviously we know this, but, like, the last time that there was this kind of hesitancy around a movie, like, before it had come out to the public, was probably Joker.
Yeah.
Were people scared to go to the theater because of this? And honestly, whenever I would finally watch, like when I watched Joker, I was like, okay, you know what? I kind of get it. Like, if the wrong person saw this movie, it definitely could be dangerous.
Sure.
Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I watched this movie. I'm like, okay, people were worried over nothing. Like, this is
Yeah.
not that movie at all. You know,
Mm-mm.
No, another conversation I find really interesting is I think a lot of people are confusing the word apolitical and nonpartisan. This movie is so incredibly, I think, nonpartisan. Like, it's certainly political, but it's not political in a way that's left or right, like extreme. It's just straight down the middle, nonpartisan. And I really like that he took that road with it too.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But anywho, I think that's about all I have. If y'all have anything else, I'm all ears and I could talk about this movie forever. But I think that's all I got. I think we solved it, man.
Where would you? I know it's early, but
Sure.
like, where would this rank amongst Garland movies
Dude, so
that he's directed?
I said in my initial review that I'm not ready to put it above Ex Machina. And what I mean by that is I really love this movie. I've just seen Ex Machina a lot more times. I think in a lot of ways, and I think they're both very important movies, but I think in a lot of ways this one may be more important because it's more at home. I just think maybe Ex Machina might be a little bit more digestible and accessible to some people. Whereas like this one, I think it does have that Joker element to it. Like if you lean in it too much and you do, it can put a bad taste in your mouth really easily. I think if you misread it. What do you think?
What do you think, Brady?
It's my favorite of his. Like I haven't seen Annihilation since like the year it came out, so I can't really. I mean, back then though, I think I gave it like a 9 out of 10 or something like that. Like I really liked it. Didn't like Men. I'm not as high on Ex Machina as most people. Like I enjoy it, but yeah, I think this is like. I don't know if it's the best written movie. I still think Ex Machina is probably like his best screenplay, probably. But in terms of direction, like this is, to me, this is like totally in a different ballpark than anything else he's made in a directing sense.
I certainly agree with that.
Yeah. I think I still have it solidly behind Ex Machina, and I still have it behind Annihilation. I do think it has the potential to jump Annihilation. To me, Ex Machina is like it's like Get Out. Like it's such a tight, perfect movie to me that I don't know that he could ever make anything to jump it. So, but I don't know. I'm very anxious to revisit this one going forward.
The one thing I've taken away from this conversation specifically is I wish I watched the Annihilation movie that y'all watched. I haven't found it anywhere.
Love it.
It's
really good. Like
it's
from what I remember, yeah.
I watched it again the other night. I can't get into it. Like I feel like I understand it, but it just does not work for me at all. I'm really sad by it because I like Natalie Portman a lot. I couldn't get into it.
I love it.
It makes sense. Matt doesn't like aliens, so
hey, I'll take it on the chin. For me, I would say it's if I had Ex Machina, and again, it's just a way to like illustrate this. If I had Ex Machina at like a 10 out of 10, I would say Civil War is like at an 8.75 out of 10. But I've also lived with Ex Machina for nearly 10 years now. Going on 10 years,
right.
Around 9-10 years.
very true.
Annihilation. I probably put Devs honestly in front of Annihilation. Not by a lot, but I found so much more enjoyment out of that. I actually watched it and enjoyed it. Annihilation, I would put under Devs, and then I would put Men under Annihilation. And then to give you an idea of where I have Annihilation and Devs, Devs is probably like a 6.75 out of 10. Annihilation, I'll probably go like, dude, just like 6 out of 10. I can't do it. Like, it's just enough. I can't say it's bad, but I don't like it. And then Men, it's pretty horrendous in my opinion.
Yeah, they are.
Son.
Soft critic. I know.
Jeez.
Do you like Prometheus, Zach? I know Brady and I are massive fans of Prometheus.
It's one of the best
Massive
sci-fi
fans.
movies ever made.
Hey, I knew I liked you.
It's one of the best.
No Annihilation.
Well, Arrival, but we can talk about that a different day. Do you know? So I noticed
I love
that.
it.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I noticed watching Annihilation the other day. I'm like, there's a lot of this is very Arrival too. I was actually very shocked. Like the way they go back and forth, like the flashbacks, very Arrival.
Arrival. You're gonna watch a lot of movies that are a lot like Arrival.
Probably so.
It's just like the genre is just like
Sci-fi.
everything apes on a bunch of other stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. It's just like it's all great. A lot of it's great.
Yeah.
That's why they keep doing it.
You ever seen Lost
Never got into it.
show? Yeah. That's every episode.
Dude, homework. Y'all need to watch Fallout, man. I'm like episode 6 now.
Watch the first episode.
What'd you like? Did you like
My
it?
list.
Really good.
I love how it's like, one, I think it's pretty not dramatic, but like it definitely feels like an HBO prestige show. But at the same time, it has a lot of like comedy to it that's like I don't think you expect.
Oh yeah.
And the comedy really works because it's out there. And then Walter Goggins is just, dude.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Very
Man.
Fallout. If you know Fallout, Zach, it's just very
Oh, yeah.
Fallout.
I can't wait. Like I just finished catching up on Invincible and the catching back up on X-Men. So it's
Still
next
gotta
on my
watch that,
list.
yeah.
Oh, y'all are watching X-Men 97?
Oh yeah, cuz
I still gotta start it. Yeah, I've heard it's great.
it's fantastic.
Yeah, I've heard it's
So
good. I just
good.
haven't started it.
Oh man, it's so good.
What? How long is the episodes? Like 22 minutes? I'd assume.
Probably about 25 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get into it. I'll get Apple Plus soon and binge it.
It's on Disney.
Not Disney, not Apple Plus. What am I thinking of? Disney, yeah.
Yeah.
I just like re-upped on all of my, I think I have Max, Peacock, and Paramount. I just re-upped on all of those for the year. So I can, in the next paycheck, I'll grab the other ones. Anywho, any
Yeah.
final words? Zach, I'll let you start.
Alex Garland, it sucks that you've finally figured out how to make like great motion pictures and now you're not going to direct anymore. So please, like this man, every movie he's made, like the story gets a little worse, but he gets a little better at making them. And now he's going to stop. So what the heck, dude?
That's funny.
What the heck?
Brady, what do you got to say?
No, I agree with Zach. I'm really bummed out that this might be the last movie he directs. But man, it's great. I think I'm going to go back to see it tomorrow night, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. It's a really good movie.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy the second viewing of it. I don't know if y'all know this, but I think, I could be incorrect here, but certainly someone who worked on this movie, but I think it's the person who worked on the action set pieces of this movie with Alex Garland is directing another movie. I don't know what movie this is, but apparently has a pretty stacked cast, and I believe Alex Garland's writing the script with the person.
Yeah. I heard him talk about that in an interview. So that's pretty, he's an excellent screenwriter.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
he's have either of you ever read his novel, The Beach?
I haven't.
It's good.
Is
He
that
made a Leonardo DiCaprio
Danny
movie out
Boyle
of it.
movie? Was
Yeah.
I didn't know that was.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what it was based off of.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the only book he ever wrote. So
Interesting.
he's an excellent writer. And I know that's how he sees himself. He doesn't see himself as a director. So maybe we'll get some more good stories out of him.
my final word of advice for my boy Alex Garland is, listen, I know that like sometimes you have friends that you like making movies with, but I think we should leave Sonoya Mizuno to make another movie with someone else. That's my final piece of advice. I'll leave it on that. Anywho, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you guys next week. Adios.